Welcome back to Speed Reads 101. Today we're diving deep into Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the most influential books on personal growth, habit formation, and lasting success. If you ever struggle to stick to a routine, break bad habits, or improve yourself consistently, this book provides a roadmap grounded in science and practical examples. In this summary, we're going to explore not just the main ideas, but the real-life strategies and examples that make these principles actionable, so you can start improving your life habit by habit. The core idea: small habits, big impact. James Clear begins with a powerful premise: small changes compound over time. He calls these atomic habits, tiny behaviors that are easy to do, but incredibly powerful when repeated consistently. The metaphor he uses is that of an ice cube. Dropping one cube into water won't change the temperature immediately, but if you keep adding cubes over time, eventually the water reaches a tipping point. This illustrates the principle of compounding in habits. Small improvements repeated daily can lead to massive results over months and years. One of the most striking examples Clear uses is that of the British cycling team, which went from mediocrity to dominance by focusing on tiny improvements in every part of their training, from the angle of the handlebars to the nutrition of their athletes. The habit loop. At the heart of every habit, Clear explains, is a four-step loop: cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers the habit, the craving provides motivation, the response is the habit itself, and the reward reinforces it. For example, if you want to build a habit of drinking more water, the cue could be placing a water bottle on your desk. The craving might be a desire to feel refreshed. The response is taking a sip, and the reward is the satisfaction and energy you feel afterward. By understanding this loop, you can deliberately design habits that stick and break habits that harm you. Make it obvious. The first law of building good habits is to make them obvious. Clear emphasizes the power of cues in shaping behavior. He suggests strategies like habit stacking, where you attach a new habit to an existing one. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will floss one tooth. While humorous, the key idea is to leverage existing routines as anchors. Another strategy is environment design, placing cues in your environment to trigger positive habits. For instance, leaving your workout clothes on your bed can remind you to exercise in the morning. Clear gives multiple examples of people who transform their environments to make habits unavoidable. Make it attractive. The second law is to make habits attractive. Clear points out that humans are motivated by dopamine, the anticipation of pleasure, more than the pleasure itself. Bundling a habit you want to form with something you enjoy, like listening to your favorite podcast while exercising, can make it easier to adopt. Similarly, you can reframe habits to focus on the benefits rather than the sacrifices. For example, instead of thinking, I have to eat healthy, you might tell yourself, I get to nourish my body and feel energized. By making habits enticing, your brain is naturally drawn to repeat them. Make it easy. The third law is to make habits easy. Clear explains that human behavior tends to follow the path of least resistance. One practical tip is to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. For instance, if you want to read more, keep books within easy reach instead of buried on a shelf. Conversely, if you want to cut down on social media, log out of apps and place your phone in another room. Clear introduces the 2-minute rule. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes to start, it's easier to commit to consistently. The principle here is that starting is often the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum carries you forward. Make it satisfying. The fourth law is to make habits satisfying. Immediate rewards are key to habit formation because our brains prioritize instant gratification. Clear shares examples such as using a habit tracker or marking an X on a calendar every time you complete a habit. The visual feedback creates satisfaction and reinforces the behavior. Another example is rewarding yourself for hitting milestones, like enjoying a small treat after finishing a week of consistent workouts. The critical idea is that if habits feel good, your brain will repeat them, and if they feel painful or unrewarding, they are much harder to sustain. Breaking bad habits. Clear also addresses breaking bad habits. The process essentially inverts the 4 laws, make them invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. For example, if you're trying to reduce junk food consumption, keep unhealthy snacks out of sight, Remind yourself of negative consequences, make them harder to access, and avoid rewarding yourself with them. He provides examples from everyday life, like a smoker keeping cigarettes in a drawer that requires effort to reach, or someone avoiding compulsive phone use by deleting addictive apps. The key insight is that habits are rarely broken by sheer willpower. They are broken by redesigning cues and consequences. Identity and habits. One of the most important takeaways from Atomic Habits is the focus on identity. Clear argues that the most lasting habits are the ones that align with the person you want to become. Instead of setting a goal like I want to run a marathon, frame it as I am a runner. The shift from outcome-based goals to identity-based habits transforms behavior because every small habit becomes a vote for your desired identity. For example, brushing your teeth every night is a vote for being someone who cares about their health and hygiene. Over time, these small votes accumulate, reinforcing the identity you aspire to. Real-life examples. Clear uses countless real-life stories to illustrate his points. One is the story of Dave Brailsford, the British cycling coach who improved performance through tiny gains, eventually winning the Tour de France. Another is the story of a writer who wanted to publish more consistently and started with just 2 minutes of writing a day. Eventually, this tiny habit scaled into full chapters and published works. These examples demonstrate that incremental change repeated consistently is more powerful than seeking dramatic transformations overnight. Plateaus and habit mastery. Another critical concept Clear covers is the plateau of latent potential. Often we don't see results immediately, which leads to frustration and quitting. However, just like an ice cube melting, progress is happening beneath the surface. Clear emphasizes patience and consistency, noting that breakthroughs are the result of long-term compounding. Mastery of habits comes from sticking to the process even when results aren't obvious. Practical strategies and tools. Clear provides actionable tools such as habit tracking, implementation intentions, environment design, and habit stacking. Habit tracking, for instance, is as simple as marking an X on a calendar for each completed habit. Over time, seeing the chain of X's motivates you to keep going. Implementation intentions involve planning exactly when and where you will perform a habit, increasing the likelihood of follow-through. For example, I will meditate at 7 a.m. in my living room. Environment design reduces friction for good habits and increases it for bad ones. These tools are all designed to make habit formation almost automatic. Conclusion. In summary, Atomic Habits teaches us that lasting change doesn't require huge leaps. It requires tiny, consistent steps. By focusing on the 4 laws of behavior change, make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, and aligning habits with the identity we wish to embody, we can achieve extraordinary results. Whether you want to improve your health, productivity, relationships, or finances, the principles in this book provide a clear, actionable framework. The key takeaway is simple. Small habits, repeated consistently, will transform your life over time. Success is not a singular event, but a process. And Atomic Habits gives us the roadmap to follow that process effectively.